Welcome back, everyone, to the Stool podcast. This is season 8, episode 3, and I'm joined, as always, by my two exceptionally handsome guests, Joey and Brian. How are you guys doing today?
Yo,
pretty good.
How's that for an
How are you
intro?
guys?
Pretty good.
How are you, Robin?
I'm very good. I am working on a project. If you follow me on Instagram, you will have seen this teak cabinet that I'm building. And you know, I feel like the last few projects that I've been doing, client projects, have just been slogs where you're just going, oh, I don't want to be doing this, or there's some aspect of the build that I'm dreading. Like I look back at one of the cabinetry jobs that I did, and I had to install it. And I remember the whole time building this project just with this anxiety around the installation part. This teak cabinet that I'm building is just, I wake up every day and I'm stoked. I can't wait to get into the workshop.
Awesome.
I'm doing proper woodworking as well. It's not cabinetry, it's woodworking. 2 weeks ago, Joey, I mentioned about teak, how I'm pretty whatever about it. And you said it's the way it works, and I get it now. I get it. It's like milling soap.
Yeah,
everything is just
butter, right?
It's smooth, and I think I've had one tiny corner that I was trying to chamfer break out, but that's it. Other than that, so it's just a joy to work with. And so I've just of the two of them, I've completed the first floating back panels, it's a relatively simple process, obviously, but I've just never done that before. And so it was really exciting, getting all the Lego bits together and joining it up and seeing it come together. So yeah, so I'm very good.
I was interested in the way you approached the whole back panel. Have you seen what he did?
Was gonna talk about that. Yeah.
I like the approach. I wouldn't have done it that way, but it works, and it's a feature. So
what would you have done?
Well, let's explain. So let's break it down. So you've got your two end panels, side panels of this cabinet, and you've got 3 back rails, top, middle, and bottom, that go across. And those rails go all the way through the end panels. So from the end of the cabinet, you would see the end grain, kind of this rounded, scalloped kind of rail.
Mm.
And that's just not something I've seen before in that kind of piece of furniture, but it works because it's going to add a bit of detail to that side of that cabinet. What I've seen and the way I've done it before is that you make up a completely separate panel that is its own rectangle, and that sits into rebates on each end of the end panels, and it can be fixed or glued in place, and it has its own complete frame with floating panel in it. And the way you've done it is more integrated, but I like the solution, and I think it works.
Sorry, I missed that last bit. So you're saying the back panel is a separately built back panel which gets attached onto the side panels?
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Well, you'd never see that, the connection through. Like, did you come up with that yourself, or did you see it somewhere?
Oh, so the reason I did that is I've done 2 cabinetry jobs now where that's the front rail.
Yes.
Is how it's attached.
That's where that detail would be, right?
Got you.
And normally with your cabinetry, you would then have another 16 mil sheet which would attach onto the side of that and cover it.
That's right.
I think it's kind of cool because it just shows the joinery, and it's because
it's solid timber, that it's not veneer, and
right.
Yep.
It's definitely solid timber, and because of that round over, it's a nice fit. So it looks quite good.
It does.
Also, with this particular piece, it's going to be sitting underneath a desk. That's whatever regular height desk is. It's about 700 high. So that joinery at the back underneath the desk, you're not going to see at all. So it just seemed, putting more time and effort into that just felt unnecessary. The only thing I don't know if I don't like it, but the only thing that I wish I could have done differently is the way it all comes together. The bottom rail is glued in place. The bottom floating panel slides in from the top. Then the middle rail slides in from the side
Yeah.
because you obviously can't bring it, you can't push it in because that floating panel's there. And then the top floating panel comes in, and then the top bit comes on. Now, because of that, the middle panel, the groove, the slot, is cut all the way through. So when you see it from the side, you will see that you'll see the slots cut into the middle panel.
Just patch it. Just put in
put a little tongue in it. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, so I can get a little bit of, because it's end grain, so it'll disappear really well. Just put a little block into there. Maybe after this, I'll do an Instagram post just to explain it. That's the only other thing, but I couldn't think of any other way of how to. I guess this comes back to what you're saying about build the back panel. Then you don't need to worry about all of that. You can build it and then push it, insert it into place, and then you wouldn't need it. One of the other reasons I did this is I was really considering the racking of it. So having all of those side, rails, 3 of them, because I guess I could have gone with 2, but having 3 rails just gave it more strength. But it's funny, and I go into it in the video. The side panels joined onto the bottom panel, and I just, when you just nail a glue up, it clicks in, and you're like, someone needs to see this just to acknowledge that this actually happened. The join is so good that pretty much all the racking has gone purely from that join alone. So I've been able to dial back a lot of the quote unquote engineering because racking is no longer even an issue.
I'm glad you had a good glue up because I had the opposite experience the other day. So you just reminded me of it.
Was that your kitchen? I saw that kitchen with the oak. Is that the one?
Yeah. So that island, when I glued it up, I put the end legs on the wrong ends of the rail. And it wasn't until I had fully glued it up and I was like just tweaking the legs and making sure everything was nice and square. And then I was like, hey, something doesn't look right. Oh shit, the legs are on the wrong ends because of reasons. So I was just like, shit. Like there was a couple of $1,000 worth of oak sitting there, and I'm like, what the shit? And I just grabbed my mallet and I just smacked the shit out of it, and it just came apart. Like I couldn't believe it. It had been about 40 minutes, and
in epoxy or
in
PVA?
Yellow glue.
In yellow glue, yeah.
And it came apart. The glue in the mortises was still wet enough that I could smash it apart and quickly pull the dominoes out and then pull it around and do it again. It was a pain in the ass, but
no damage to the timber.
No, and it's so perfect for a 6-legged thing. They're usually notoriously not flat. It's very difficult, but I've just got it perfectly. It's sitting perfect, so I'm very happy with how that worked.
Here, while we're on dominoes, there, you guys seen the videos of the new
Craig one?
Jesus Christ! Talk about virality before a product's even launched.
Yeah, it just feels like it's everywhere. I watched a bit of commentary from, I think it's Jonathan Katz-Moses.
Yeah, I saw that.
I don't know if did you see that? And I thought that was really interesting because he's got the tool production knowledge that this may not even turn into it. The Craig may not even come out with this in the end.
Yeah, talking about the patents that were still remaining and still active on many parts of the tool, but the actual
that's right.
So Stool could essentially sue Craig. So this never even sees the light of day.
It's going to be interesting. Like it will be, I would say it will be released in some format. It won't be the format that they're showing at woodworking shows right now, would be the likelihood. But it will come out.
Yeah. It's funny. I've earmarked profit from this build that I'm doing now to get a domino for my next build. Nice. And I saw that and I just went, I don't mind spending the money, but I don't want to spend the money and make a bad decision.
No.
You can't make a bad decision with a domino. They've been around for so long, and they're like, I've got the same domino I bought, I don't know how long, over a decade. I've had this domino, and it just goes.
Mine's 12 years old. I don't know how many times you've dropped yours, Joey, and the fence might go out of square a bit, and then you just reset it, and
they just work.
For all my criticism for lots of different Festool products and their servicing, The domino
it's
is
'cause
the one thing that you will never ever regret, Robin. Like,
Yeah, and everyone
know?
says that. Everyone
Yeah.
who gets it, I think the discussion is more around which one you want to go for, but that's obviously personal to my needs. But I don't,
Small one. Unless you're doing doors and windows, you don't need the big
which
one.
is what I was going to do. Yeah, I've heard the argument about getting attachments so that you can do small stuff with the big one, but
That's
to me that
too
just
big and clumsy.
It's massive.
yeah,
Even the small one, you'll find if you're using it, like you'll see, like, is it Jonathan Katz-Moses that makes the jig for it? No, it's not. It's Ramon Valdez, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah,
Where you put it
That sounds
vertically in
familiar.
a jig. That's
Yeah.
to try to reduce the wear on your body, because even the small one is heavy. Like if you're using it for 30, 40 minutes, you do start to feel the weight of it. So
Smashes your forearm.
the big one would be what? You've got the big one, Joey, or not?
Yeah, I've only had it for maybe not even a year.
Yeah, and it would be
It's much
half
easier
as heavy
to hold
again.
It's got a proper handle on it.
The handle,
and that's
yep.
all they need to do to the small one, because the small one you grip it like a giant pipe and it just smashes your forearm. But the bigger one has an actual like a tool handle, and you could probably work that for the same amount of time as you can get the small one.
Yeah, right. Oh, so having to grip that
it just doesn't feel ergonomic,
taxing.
like holding it.
No.
That like you're saying, a handle, like even on biscuit jointers, you know, the way you used to have some that are perpendicular to the tool.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't actually looked at the Craig one close enough.
No,
whether the handle is the same as the Festool or whether it's like a biscuit jointer.
It also has a big battery. I think it's battery powered, and I don't know how that is going to play into the balance of the thing. I think I would prefer a plug-in one. Anything that requires extraction, you might as well just put a power lead on it, because
I agree.
Why do you got to have a hose anyway? So
I'll push back on that. I enjoy my palm sander, which is battery operated, because there's one hose on it. I'm not because and maybe this is because my hose doesn't fit properly. I've got my hand on my router and my hand on the hose, and I'm using it like that. So to then have an extra power cable in that, I don't know.
I wrap them together.
Be a big thing.
Mine are like taped together, so it's one cable anyway.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
And because I don't want two cables, so my sander has everything's duct taped together and just has one thing I've got to move around. Anyway, that's just a point of difference.
Well, I've seen the battery comment come up a few times. People saying, now I'm not going to get into another battery ecosystem just for one tool. What's the point?
The same with sorry.
It is a really valid concern, that whole battery platforms thing, and adding another charger to your workshop, and then when the battery fails, having to buy a different brand of battery again. I don't know. I think it's we all knew that it was going to happen with the Domino. You know, the second that the patent was starting to, I just think it's brave of Craig to be the first ones to go sort of live and showing an actual working prototype, or I'll call it a prototype because it's not for sale. But everybody else is obviously waiting in the wings, and if it were me personally, I'd be waiting to see what Makita are producing, because it's not going to be that much more expensive than a Craig, and I don't know, we all just have longer experiences of Makita. The products tend to work.
Yeah, I would consider the Makita just on the basis that I've got, whatever, $2,000 worth of batteries.
Yep.
That's my concern about making the wrong decision. It's, do I buy now or hold off?
I would still buy the Festool if I were you.
100%.
Yeah.
And you use it for stuff you wouldn't even think you need it for. Like, I'm just using mine this morning. I ran out of Lamello P14 Lamello clips, which is a different tool category, but I was like, shit, do I wait a week or I'll just use the Domino? I didn't really want to do it. It meant I had to use clamps. It aligned what I was doing better than actually what the Lamello was doing for me anyways.
Do you use that Lamello quite often? I feel like every time now that I see a cabinetry short on Instagram, it's people just using Lamello. That's like the standard now. For like their face frame, they're clipping on their, they're doing their trim work. It's all Lamello.
I mean, it's genius, but it's not necessarily quicker and it's not necessarily better. than some older way or a different way to do it. But the fact that like they're self-clamping, especially for face frames or any kind of cover cap type scenario, and if you can have, I don't know how guys do it on site. I would hate to do it on site. I do all that in my workshop and allow to trim my pieces, but at the end of the job, you just unwrap a few face frame pieces and just clip them on, and it's finished and it looks perfect. It's just like genius. It just saves the day. So
I reckon if you were looking at becoming a full cabinet maker, Robin, if the majority of your work is going to be furniture, it's probably like it's a big investment. You'd be way better using a domino. But yeah, my only real experience of lamellos was with the legs for the clover table and the system that Jim at Like Butter came up with for clipping them together, unclipping them, and just that repeatability of knowing that they're going back into exactly the same place, but there is a release mechanism, like you can't get them apart again. It's gold, but it's expensive.
That's what I was going to say. Compared to the price of a domino, it might be, I don't even know, like a couple of cents versus a lamello. The cheapest version, the tensos, are still $1 something each.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yep.
Just jumping back to your oak, the table that you made, I just wanted a quick
the island,
talk. The island, the oxidizing that you did to it. You mentioned that it goes a bluey color. Does it always do that? I thought it was
how
more
it dried
brown.
Well, I think I've always seen it go that kind of blue black, kind of rust black color. I mean, it's just like a weird, and you wouldn't think it's going to be black until you put the clear coat on it, and then it just kind of goes bam.
Because your video made it look really blue to the point where I went, oh, that's a color palette choice. That's not just darkening. You are making a blue table with it.
That's just.
I think it's because it's the chemical reaction. Like it affects how light is reflecting off the surface, which is what's giving it that blue black. Because once you put
matte.
very, very matte, and then once you put your satin finish over the top, it's kind of blocking that whatever it's doing to the reflection of the light.
I think it's pretty similar in like car painting and stuff. Until they get those end layers of clear lacquer on it, it looks very flat and blah, and then the clear just like brings the color out.
My wife came down and looked at the teak cabinets yesterday, and I could see that look on her face where she's trying to work out the nicest way to say what's formulating behind her eyes. And she sort of went, is this really worth this much? And I had to explain to her, it's you just got to give it a chance. It's full of chalk and pencil and rough. Just wait till the varnish is on it, then the oil, then we can talk. But I was trying to explain to her, don't formulate your opinions yet.
I don't know that teak is worth what it's worth. It's beautiful. The fact that it's at $20,000, $22,000 a cubic meter is outrageous.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's been felled and forested to near extinction, and I guess that's half of the problem. And the timber that we do get, you've got to wonder how it gets certified, which is a whole different kettle of fish. I just feel like and I guess that's what the problem is. It's just been so
scarcity
depleted, that
it's the same as your Remu. I was watching Scott Brown's latest video where he's making his framing out of it. And you can see there's one point where he's milled it down and there's all these like nail holes and I think he epoxied them and the epoxy color wasn't right. And you could hear the sense of like deflatedness in him because it wasn't as good as he wanted. But he just, I think he says in the video or is implied, this stuff's just too expensive and hard to get. But if you look at Remu just for what it is, it's a pretty standard looking timber.
Just a brown timber, yeah.
It's nice. Remu is like the timber of my grandfather's workshop from my childhood. I'm a fan of Remu, so fair play to Scott for doing something out of it. But yeah, the fact that there's not really any native timbers coming out of New Zealand anymore, like nothing's being milled, and they don't really, apart from pine, are there any other plantations, Joey?
There are, but it's funnily enough, it's like American stuff. You got Douglas fir, there are walnut plantations. which I haven't actually seen the result of it. But
Walnut plantations that were planted in the 70s or something, or
yeah,
fairly
way
recent?
back.
Okay.
Right, okay.
Yeah, and they're just starting to be milled. I've had some people kind of contact me about it, kind of saying, we've got 2 hectares of walnut. Would you buy any? And I'm kind of like, yes, but do you want me to buy 70 hectares of wood, or like, what do you want?
That's not a conversation we just have over the phone.
Yeah.
The plantation, like for walnut, it would have to be pretty close to you, right? It would have to be top of the North Island to really
I
have
don't
the
know.
climate.
It is in the North Island, but
It is.
I don't even know what the quality is like, because like I've said before, American white oak doesn't grow nicely here. Well, it grows,
Yeah.
but the timber's crap. And so I think there's quite a bit of skepticism about what's actually being produced. But in the South Island, Douglas fir is massive, and beech, massive industries actually. But we don't tend to see that timber. It just goes somewhere else. It's gone.
Right.
Yeah.
Talking about timbers, I had a guy contact me 2 days ago. He's got a big ironbark log or tree that's just come down. But you say that, Bryan. So I haven't I have a small piece of ironbark, and I appreciate that it's going to be just the devil's dick to work with because it's so hard. But surely once you've built something out of it, it must be a beautiful thing at the end of it.
Yeah, it'll survive the atom bomb. That it is stunning, heavy as hell. So
yeah,
my advice would be, if you're going to use it and make really beautiful small things out of it.
Yeah,
well,
it's what gets made?
2.8 meter long, and it's about 400 wide. So I'm not going to be building a kitchen out of it.
Yep.
But if it's small boxes, that kind of thing, it would work perfect for that.
Yeah. Is it gray or red? Do you know?
No. So I haven't seen. He just said it's an ironbark. I'm not sure what type, and I haven't seen it yet. But I said to him, all right, let me just. I'll come over in 2 weeks and collect it. I'll see if I can get it on my trailer. Because I'll just work out the weight, and if not, I normally get one of those tip trays that they put cars on. They'll take it away. And I went online, or went onto ChatGPT afterwards, and working out the weight. It's around 1,500 kilos, that log, because it's just such. My trailer can take about 400 kilos, so I was just off. But it's just because, as you say, Bryan, it's so dense and heavy.
Is it usually used for like bridges and stuff like that, or is it?
Used to be, yeah. You won't find people really using it now. Like I don't really know of any furniture makers that use it. It's expensive and it's heavy and it's dense. Like
just hard,
really hard. Like it'll wait till you see when you start sanding it, Robin. How quickly it will blunt your sandpaper. Like you go in at it on 120, and then you feel the pad, and you're like, "What happened to my pad?
Where's it gone?" Well, my first thought was my bandsaw. We were talking earlier about how nicely teak cuts, and how my bandsaw blade is not particularly new, but I'm able to rip 6 mil for my floating panels. If I try and do that with like a piece of Moreton Bay ash or a eucalypt, that blade that's in another postal code. As soon as it hits the wood, I imagine with ironbark it'll be the same.
You might want to get a wee tungsten tip blade or something if you're going to take on ironbark, but it machines quite nicely. It doesn't fall apart. But yeah, it's just the finishing of it is pretty wild. Anyway, you'll have fun with that.
Yeah. Tom, man, having fun. You said you had a client issue, right?
Yeah, I've had a few in the past couple of weeks. Mainly pre-clients, or like quoting for jobs. I have quoted on 3 pretty big jobs that have required like proper EOIs. It's not just saying ballpark figures. It's like, these are examples of my previous work. They were for, I can't really name them, but they're a large institution, public institution.
Can you talk rough dollar figures, or can't?
They were 3 very large tables that had really specific, how do I say it without giving it away?
Use cases.
They had very specific user needs. They needed to be a certain size. They needed to have a certain amount of electronic components in a cabinet underneath. But the brief
Mm-hmm.
was just all over the place, and they're looking for accurate costing. It needed to incorporate an Indigenous artist's work, and I was like, brilliant, cool with that. And then I was like, what Indigenous artists have you contacted? And then they basically sent me an image and sort of said, oh, well, we have permission to use this. And I'm like, well, can you show me the permission, or can you put me in contact with the artist? Oh, yeah, that'll happen later down the line. I was like, really? I'm like, I don't feel particularly comfortable with this. And anyway, so yeah, 2 big EOIs knocked back. I spent probably best part of a day on each of them. Both knocked back within a day of sending them. Thank you very much for your. I'm like, I'm pretty sure you know that you've approached me to try to get the higher of 3 quotes to then settle for the middle one.
Did they give you any indication of why?
No. I discussed costs with them, and my cost was sort of within reason for what their overall budget was. So that was, yeah, I mean, that's just frustrating. And that is the whole thing of winning a job, and any trade, you kind of, if you're a builder or carpenter or whatever, you're up against that. But I just feel it's becoming more common that I'm quoting based on what I need to make a livable wage. This is not me going, I'm going to make a fortune off this piece.
Yeah.
And it's just getting knocked back. And a repeat job that I've done for clients, again, I can't really go into super specifics, but a repeat job that I've done for many, many years for a client was starting to kick off again this year. And again, watching my words, we use the Joey's hypothetical corner.
Yeah.
And thanks to Jem for the theme tune as well. Robin's going to add it in at the end of the show. End. So Jem has got us another absolute gem. So thanks, Jem. But yeah, the job for the client, the budget's always been around the same. They wanted to add an extra element to it this year, which meant collaborating with somebody else. Involved a lot of meetings, a lot of design time. And then, we're on to prototyping it. And before they sign off the prototyping quote, they're saying they need accurate costing on the final version. I'm like, well, I can't give you that until we've prototyped, because I've never used this material that you're asking me to do before to use. And then it went to, actually, well, yeah, just so you're aware, we've got to cut the budget. I'm like, so you're asking me to do more for less? And they're like, oh, no, we're just exploring what's possible. And I'm like,
so it's being cut.
That's more for less.
Yeah.
So yes, I'm currently going through that process. And yeah, it's just very frustrating. And it's one of those things that has irked me a bit and made me go, it's so much easier to sit back and wait for returning clients as opposed to pitching for new work. But then when I've got a returning client and then that happens, I'm like,
all right,
get me into teaching. So anyway,
you said about how what I take from what you said is, and I feel the same, is that you feel like you're being used to provide a quote just to fill a box, and then they've already decided on the one quote they like, or that they've connected somehow personally with some other company, but they've got to do their due diligence and provide the 3 quotes, and they give you the minimum information, and they just give us a number, and then we don't even, and you just feel like, and sometimes you can pick it, but what do you say? Like, I just know I can't be bothered. And well, actually, I just did that. I was just going to say, I was approached.
There's your answer, folks.
I was approached by a construction company who have contacted me before, and I gave them a price and never heard anything back. It took me 2 weeks to work out a price for this project. It was at a school, and you can imagine all the school shenanigans that you've got to go through. And so then they contact me and said, we have to do this, renovate this wing of a hospital, which is close to me. Can you do all this stuff? And I was just like, no thanks. Like I couldn't think of a worse job than working in a hospital as a like construction, and that's under construction. It just couldn't. It must be outrageous, the amount of red tape and just ridiculous bollocks. So yeah,
Even
Is
the
this quite a-
logistics of dealing with installs and
exactly.
like
That's it. Like, where do you park? How do you get in? Like, how much noise can you make? When can you do it? All of that.
Is this quite a common thing? Honestly, this is the first time I'm hearing about this. I think
about
I don't think
getting
we've ever spoken.
getting quotes
Yeah,
where
like-
yeah,
Yeah, I don't think we've ever spoken about this on the podcast before. I assume this is all for much bigger jobs where it's
usually
put together by a committee.
either government or larger private enterprise. They do need to do due diligence and get multiple quotes, which is totally understandable. But I just feel as though they're approaching us with a predetermined outcome. And if they came to me and
often.
actually said, can you just quickly, I don't want you to spend too much time on it because I think it's unlikely the client's going to go for it. But would you mind, like, future jobs where something comes up where there's more budget, we'll keep you in mind. But would you mind just putting something together just so I can show them what a higher option is? But when you go to a lot of effort, a lot of time, and that client then contacted me about doing a similar, like, again, I've got to be careful, an interactive for the space, which again was heavily indigenous themed, and they just send me a photo off the internet and say, "Can you quote off this?" And I did exactly what you did, Joey. I just went, "Not my bag." Like I can't just knock something off. Firstly, and then secondly, when you're dealing with indigenous IP and stuff, it's like I can't just make that. But you should know that because of the industry that you work in. You should know that, and you shouldn't be asking me to do it.
So I have a client who has paid me a deposit for quite a bit of work involving a kitchen. And so the deposit they've paid me is a placeholder. So I've booked out like January for them. Next January is theirs, and I'm going to make their kitchen. So they came to me and said, "Oh, also, we need to do a wardrobe. We've got no idea what we want. We want it to look probably something like this other job we know you've done. Can you just give us a price? Because we've got to get to the bank like in 2 days, and we need to add this on to the costs so they can get approval and all, whatever." And I was like, I rang the designer who's working with this job, and they were like, "Yeah, just do it like this other kitchen, do it like this other wardrobe you did." But they're different sizes and different details and all the rest. So I'm like, "Shit, what do you do?" So I was told by the designer, said to me, "Just put it down as a PC sum." Have you ever heard of this before? Brian says yes. Robin says no.
Big no.
So I just Googled it again because I learned about it. And then, so PC sum is, what does it say it is? A prime cost.
Prime cost.
And that only includes materials. It's an estimate. And so you might say to someone, okay, PC sum, if you're renovating, you're going to need a new toilet, but, it could be anything. Let's just allow like $600 for a new toilet. But that doesn't include the labor to install the toilet, right?
Okay.
So then what you want to do is a provisional sum. The provisional sum includes the labor and the materials. And that's actually what you want to do. If someone comes to you and says, "Can we just have a ballpark price?" and no one holds anyone to it, it's what the provisional sum is. That includes what you think it's going to cost to make and supply and install.
So provisional cost and provisional sum.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you want a provisional sum typically, because as what we do, we don't just supply a good usually. We have to include our labor onto that somehow. So we have to include all of that. So I just kind of worked out a broad number and said, if you allow this much, this many thousand, you'll probably get what you want as a provisional sum. So yeah, it's an interesting way to do it because it's no one's going to hold you to that price.
But
But
won't they? I
well,
mean, I know you say that, but like you've still shown your cards at that point, haven't you?
yes and no, because nothing, you haven't said it's going to be made of gold plated diamonds. It's, you could show up and give them cardboard. Like, no one's said what it is going to be. So there's a certain amount of, then, okay, let's say it's going to cost $10,000 to do this wardrobe. It's going to be about that. I might price it up at 7 or 8,000, or I might price it up at 10 or 11,000, but it's going to be in that range, and it's up to the client to then have a, what do you call it, when you've got extra on your job, a
Line item.
Surplus.
surplus for the job, an overrun expense cost.
You'll hear the terms come up, Robin, if you're dealing with architects who are using like QS, like quantity surveyors. They will use these terms. So it's good. It's actually really good, Joey, to make people aware of them, especially like independent, individual, sole trader woodworkers, to know the difference between those two if they are approached by a builder.
Yeah,
it's really good to know,
because everyone uses PC sum, and if something goes wrong, and there's some legal issue with something, it's only going to cover the goods and not your time. So just make sure you're saying the right term, and because builders and architects typically only say PC sum, like, as just and everyone expects that you know what they're talking about.
And just so I understand, so PC sum would basically be the same as a rough quote
on goods only.
Wait, sorry, I thought PC cost was.
No, it's what's the other one? Provisional sum.
PC cost and PC sum, like, kind of interchangeable. Yeah, but
okay. Sorry. So which is the one where it's just the cost of the material?
Is PC sum is just the cost of material,
and when it's with the labor,
and the labor is provisional. Hang on. We're going to confuse the hell out of everyone.
Prime cost sum is when it's materials that haven't been selected.
Cost,
so
not provisional.
Prime cost.
Okay.
And the provisional sum only is labor as well.
Okay. All the P's are mixing me up.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's an interesting way to go about it. So that is the way you can offer really quick prices.
Quick quotes.
If someone's just like, give me a price by the end of the day, you're like, yep, sure, 20 grand. And then just move on with your life.
Well, that's what I mean. So surely you don't ever want to say it's going to be 10 grand and then later on down the track it becomes 20 grand, because then don't they turn around and go, well, hang on.
Yeah. But you just add in a note on it saying excludes delivery installation. Right.
You can do that. I mean, you could.
That covers.
I mean, after you've made stuff for a while, you get to a point where it's interesting, actually. So when I was in my old workshop, my average job cost was $5,000, and for $5,000, you could pretty much get whatever you like. It would take me. It's pretty much a week's worth of work, and I can pretty much make anything you want furniture-wise in a week. Now my average job cost is $10,000. The jobs are pretty much the same. I guess it shows that the cost of working has gone up. Materials, all the overheads have gone up significantly. Plus, the cost of my labor has to go up because, like Bryan said, you have to pay yourself money so you can buy food. And so the average cost has doubled in the 10 years. And a point to what you were saying, Bryan, I've talked to my wife about this quite a bit, is that as self-employed people, plumbers, builders, whatever we are, we can charge what we feel we need to earn. Well, we can try and charge what we feel we need to earn. And then the average person who is employed by an employer is stuck on their wage. And I think it's fair to say that everybody thinks that it probably deserves more money than what they're getting from an employer, but you can't demand it. So you're kind of stuck at that level. And so there's this huge disparity, and people see it all the time with comments on social media about builders ripping people off and charging all this excessive amounts of money. But if the shoe was on the other foot, those same people would be quite happy to charge what they feel is what they deserve or what they are worth. And it's a strange position to be in, where you can just pick how much you want to earn, but you've got to realize that sometimes your clients aren't in that same position, or a lot of the times, and so
Most of the time, yeah.
it's a weird juxtaposition, right? And there's always this kind of butting of heads between those opinions.
There was I can't remember, it was something on Instagram about a week or two ago. Someone was selling something online, and his whole Instagram reel was justifying why he was charging what he was charging. And admittedly, it was a lot. It was a little bedside table, and it was very expensive. But yeah, being on this side of it now, go for it, bud. Like, you charge whatever you want. You're going to limit your market. You're going to get clients turning you down, but have at it, because you're going to attract the clients that you want, because that's where the money is. I don't know, this whole idea of that's too expensive, or you shouldn't be charging that money. I don't believe that world exists anymore.
Yeah.
You can charge whatever you want if the client sees the value in it.
Yeah, it's all about value, right? And we've all said, I think, independently, that we can't afford our own work. And so it's not like, yeah, that's a tricky. That's a tricky.
We're moving into moral grayness. Yeah.
Anyway. While we're in that area of sort of about talking luxury goods, and people will pay what something's worth, can we get into a bit of design corner about the new electric Ferrari? I know this is a bit of a departure from woodwork, but in terms of design and that kind of thing, it's really interesting. So I'm sure everybody has seen it, because it has been across every single design blog, and it has gone fully viral, because it is the worst piece of crap I've ever seen thrown out by a premium car designer. I would love to hear you guys' opinion on it. So if anybody hasn't seen it, the Ferrari, is it Luce? Is it Luce? I don't know. We'll call it the Luce.
I can't find the name.
Ferrari Luce. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is what happens when you ask product designers to design a car. And the same thing happens, I think, when you ask product designers to design a lot of furniture. You end up with something that is just a bit bland.
Okay, and I'm so glad you said that, because we did touch on this briefly before we started the show, and I didn't get a chance to get my opinion out, because we thought we'd save it for the show. And that's what I wanted to ask you about, Bryan. Is the design bad, or is it just meh? Because for me, I don't see anything wrong with it, but it fills me with nothing.
But that equates to bad design, right? If you're Ferrari, it needs to have a bang, right? Like Ferrari Testarossa, Ferrari F40, all those kind of designs, they're the sort of thing that if you're a 10-year-old kid and one goes past you, it's the highlight of your year, right? Regardless of whether you like cars or not, you're like, what was that?
Yeah.
If this thing went past you, my kids wouldn't even batter an eyelid on it.
No.
Yeah, it's I think it is a safe option. Very safe.
Oh, yeah. I just think it's really interesting. Like, we talk about marketing quite a bit and brand identity and all that kind of stuff. And this is so far from the mark on brand identity. The fact that their marketing images released. I'm not the biggest car guy, but this has got me going, Jesus. Like, you go with a baby blue in all your marketing images. I'm like, so you're trying to say this isn't a Ferrari by making that statement, and then you're designing something that doesn't look like a Ferrari? What's the point? What's the point?
I wonder if the rationale behind that is it's an electric, so we're gonna give it its own identity by making it that baby blue. And what's the furthest thing from red? Is baby blue.
But to me, a Ferrari owner doesn't really care if it's electric, right? What they care about is how it performs and how it looks.
And a statement.
Those are the two key things. So with electric cars, you obviously can, especially sports cars, you can get better performance in a lot of ways. But the second that you're reducing something to say, oh, well, no, we're making it totally different, it just seems like for we'll name names. Jonathan Ive and Mark Newsom, I think, were the two product designers behind it. Like guys that have been responsible for some iconic things. It feels so weird. I'd love to hear. Can we light up the comments? I'll post this episode to Instagram. I'd love to hear the comments on it, and especially if somebody feels passionately to defend the design, and I'd love to hear the flip side of the argument, because especially when you get into this negative loop on blogs and the comments start going off, and some of the comments are absolutely hilarious, but it just stimulates that. I'd love to hear a defense of it, like a really articulate defense of why this is a good design.
I'd love to see or know the process, because surely these two designers don't just have the authority to, like, their designers is it probably.
I believe that there was
a bunch of options, right?
I believe that there was one Ferrari designer that was involved. Let me.
And so Bryan, you told us about this just before the podcast, and so I've had all of 20 seconds to look at this, and unfortunately,
that's all you need. That's all you need, Joey.
Unfortunately for Ferrari, the images I am looking at, the back end of this thing looks so much like a Porsche to me, where the back wheels flare out
a little bit. Yeah.
And to me, I see the back end is a 911, and the front is some kind of weird new electric BMW.
Front end's like a Honda Jazz or something.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I was just about to say some low end Japanese.
It looks like Ferrari's decided to go into mass production for the mass markets of electric cars, but I bet you that thing is still 200,000 or something.
300 grand, I reckon, something like that. But I'm just gobsmacked by it, because I think there are very, very few genuinely attractive electric cars. I think there's some pretty good stuff coming out of China that is not available overseas. But when you look at Teslas, they look like crap, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They look like it's like a Toyota Camry.
Yeah, it's just a car.
It's like a modern version of a Camry. Yeah. But when you're thinking Ferrari, you're thinking, wow. And they've just totally missed the mark on it. Whereas if Tesla actually released this, you'd be like, oh, Tesla's done something interesting. And that's all about aligning your brand identity and your clients and your price point and all these kind of things. They all matter. And I think that's something that we can then sort of really think about our business and bring that back into our marketing, our pricing, and the way in which we design stuff. And how bad this is hit is really important for us to remember.
On a specific technical level, what they've done with the windscreen wipers, I guess the idea is to give it a nice, so as you're looking through the windscreen, it's clear, but then you just have these gigantic eyesores on the side. What a bizarre choice that was.
Creating a big blind spot.
That's terrible. It looks like it's broken.
They just get stuck.
I found some rendered images of it in red, and it doesn't look as bad, but it's still just a bang average piece of design. Yeah.
But as Bryan says, it's very easy for us to dunk on it. But if you truly believe that it's got its merits, let us know. It was the same as when we were talking last season about the forestry changes. Trying to get a
both sides of the argument balanced,
and a good, someone who's passionate about it. Yeah.
It'd be interesting to hear. I want to hear Neil from Discommon's take on it. Yeah, he's obviously a big car guy. I haven't seen him post too much on it because I think he's pretty close with some guys in Ferrari that he might not want to be upsetting. But I'd love to hear his views.
I had one quick thing that I wanted to chat to you guys. We don't have to spend too long on this, but it's I want to get your opinions on it. Obviously, Bryan, it doesn't affect you so much now. But if you think back to when you were doing this more full time, I'm interested because you and Joey come at it from very different sides. These last 2 weeks, I've really been feeling in the workshop like I'm not. It's not about productive, but I'm balancing this line between feeling lazy, like I'm not doing enough, and also being cautious. So with this project that I'm on, I wrote out a plan. I've looked at the plan 100 times. I know the plan is correct, but I still find myself before glue ups just staring at the project. And then I say, oh, let me go do something else just in case I think of something in that time. And sometimes I do, but often I don't. So I feel like I'm just sort of like, am I wasting time not getting it done? Or am I being safe and thorough? Like, part of this work of ours is it staring at a wall for 15 minutes to just let the brain juices go. And I think we might have talked about this before. I'm not sure if we have. But yeah, Bryan, from your perspective, is that something that you would have done a lot?
It's not would have done. I still do it. Yeah, 100%. Like it depends on the project, though, Robin. Like this doing the back of this cabinet is obviously something you've never done before, which totally changes the assembly process. And if you get one thing out of line, the thing doesn't go together, and you've wasted thousands of dollars, hours of your time, and the job's screwed. So I think it's totally natural to feel like that, especially the first time you're doing a piece of work. But I'll still do it on loads of pieces that I've made umpteen times before. So my advice would be is if you've stared at it for longer than about 5 minutes, have a reset, go and do something else, put something else in clamps. Like even if you just want to, I don't know whether you're still making chopping boards or serving boards but just do something small to reset your brain, or go and get a bit of coffee, or go and do your books or something, and then come back to it. Like, I think the second you've stared at it for longer than about 5 minutes, you kind of get a bit stuck on it. So just take a break, come back, take a break, come back, and you'll work it out. Keep notes as well. You know, if you've thought of something about something you want to change, or a specific order of assembly, write it down so that you've actually left physical evidence and it's not in your mind and you're constantly questioning yourself.
Yeah,
I don't know,
I've done
Joey,
that a lot more in this project, and that's been super helpful to actually have the plan, the amendments to the plan as you go. So yeah, you're not second guessing, oh, did I think about this?
Yeah. What about you, Joey? Advice?
I definitely come from a different point of view. Once you have a plan, obviously there's not very many jobs I will start without a plan, but I could build just about anything from my head now, I think. But once I've got a drawing with critical dimensions, I just throw myself at it. Like it's 100%. I'm cutting panels and not thinking twice because I've measured it. I know what the measurement has to be, and as long as it comes off the saw at that measurement, then it's got to be right. And so I give myself a goal every morning. I have a place where I want to be by the time I walk out in the afternoon, and usually I usually get there about 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, and then I'm like, I'm ahead, and I'm just whatever else I can get done in the day is all gold, because I'm just like pushing, and then I'm ahead by the job, ahead on the job by 2 days, 3 days, and then I get paid earlier. So I'm head down and butt up.
So that's exactly it. So I've got a nice bit of profit at the end of this job, and I keep having to say to myself, remember that. What did you do? Why are you just not doing anything? Think about the profit at the end. But then at the same time, I've got this idea of, like a Tasmanian designer staring out of his workshop into the mountains as he waits for the creative juices to flow, and he spends an entire week just in his zen. So there are those two worlds. But where is the balance? Because I don't like what you're talking about, Joey. Man, like that scares the shit out of me to build, because that feels like you're shooting from the hip the whole time.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that's cool. That's pretty much all. I didn't want to spend too much time on this. I guess Bryan, you answered the question for me. It's not bad to be slowing down and taking your time on these things, even if you have the plan.
Tick.
Yeah.
Measure 1,000 times, cut once.
Twice.
Cool. All right. So, we'll end off the show now. Bryan mentioned the new song from Jem. So if the song doesn't make any sense, you've got to go back to last episode and listen to the hypothetical conversation, and then it'll all make sense.
Which was it was definitely hypothetical as well, Robin. We must state that is our lawyer's advice. It was hypothetical. Yep.
Definitely.
Yep.
I put the song on and I started listening, and I was like, what is this, guys? What is he talking about? And then it took me a second, and then I had Mahogany in my head for the rest of the day.
Yep. Thanks,
Such
Jem.
a good song.
Nice.
Yeah, thanks, Jem. Cool.
All right, guys.
All right, guys. I'll see you later.
See ya. Bye.
See you guys.